Welcome back to the channel where we share fun stories about a cat from different countries around the world. So today's story is from Maplewood. This is a small, quiet town where nothing ever really happened. It was a kind of place where houses had porches and neighbors brought over freshly baked goods, and time seemed to slow down to a sleepy pace. But in the heart of this sleepy town sat an even sleepier house cat. His name was Whiskers, and he was a ginger tabby with a white chest and paws that looked a lot like boxing gloves. Whiskers wasn't just any cat. Oh no! He was special. He was the official greeter and napper of the Maplewood Library. Now, most cats would have hated all that quiet because they need peace and quiet to nap. But not Whiskers. He thrived on the peaceful silence. He liked nothing more than basking in patches of warm sunlight that streamed through the tall windows, dozing off to the gentle murmur of turning pages and listening to Miss Linda hum while she sorted books. See, Miss Linda, the woman who ran the library, had adopted Whiskers after she found him as a tiny kitten hiding in a showbox outside the library one cold winter East day. Since then, the two had become inseparable. She loved his soft fur and how he never seemed to judge her when she sang show tunes out loud. And Whiskers loved the warmth of Miss Linda's smile and the sound of her laughter. He knew that the soft crinkles around her eyes meant she'd have a good story to read. And the sight of her holding up a brand new book meant he got a whole evening of joyful purring before bedtime. They were so close that one day Miss Linda even bought him a little red sweater with the word bookworm stitched on it just for him. But despite his cozy life at the library, Whiskers couldn't help feeling a bit restless. Every time he lapped up water from his bowl or chased dust motes dancing in the sunbeams, he felt a wild urge to explore beyond the familiar shelves of the library. He dreamed of secret passages and hidden adventures right under their noses. Then one blustery autumn afternoon, Whiskers' chance came sniffing along with the rain. He smelled something intriguing, musty and old, wafting from a dusty old trunk sitting in the corner. The trunk was locked, but Whiskers didn't let that stop him. With a flick of his tail, he jumped up and started batting at the lock with his paw. Now, being a normal cat, this would have been pretty hard for Whiskers, but being an extraordinary cat, he just happened to have super strengths. So with a final swipe of his paw, click, the lock gave way. He pushed open the lid, and out popped a yellowed envelope. He nudged it open with his nose, and out tumbled a stack of brittle papers tied together with a faded blue ribbon. Unfurling them carefully, Whiskers saw that they were old maps. He traced their lines with his claws, following them to the window where they led him to a cobweb-draped section of the library he'd never noticed before. Running along the top shelf, his paws found something soft and squishy. Pulling it out, he discovered a cylindrical box wrapped in brown paper and sealed with wax. The paper was stuck, so he gave it a good bite. Then prying it open, he found a brass key nestled inside. One end of the key was shaped like a paw print, and was a jolt. Whiskers realized it was the exact shape of his own paw. Was this all just a coincidence? Probably. Still, curiosity burned brighter than caution in his belly. He trotted over to the old trunk, dropped the key into the lock, turned it, and pushed open the door. Inside, stacked to the brim with leather-bound books, scrolls, and maps. There was even a ladder leaning against a trapdoor in the floor. The air hung heavy with the scent of aged paper and leather, hinting at secrets held within those silent walls. As Whiskers cautiously stepped inside, the trapdoor creaked ominously. Startled, he dashed across the room, nearly tripping over a rug in his haste. But then he stopped. He heard a faint scratching sound coming from behind a bookcase. Whiskers, with his adventurous spirit and endless curiosity, couldn't resist. He squeezed between the bookcase and the wall, entering a narrow passageway. He wriggled forward, bracing himself for tight corners and low ceilings. But as he rounded a bend, his eyes widened in surprise. The passage opened into a vast underground chamber illuminated by flickering torch embers. In the center stood a majestic oak desk piled with ancient scrolls and strange contraptions. But what truly stole Whiskers' breath away was the sight of a pair of bright, inquisitive eyes peering at him from behind a jumble of parchment. "Hello," said a timid voice. "Who are you?" Whiskers blinked. Before him sat a raccoon, perched on a stool and wearing a pair of round spectacles. "I'm Whiskers," he replied, taking a step closer. "And you are?" "I'm Ricky," said the raccoon, pushing his glasses up his furry little nose. "And this," he gestured proudly, "is my humble abode, the secret underground library of Maplewood." Whiskers, still bewildered, took another step forward. But how?" he stammered, his mind struggling to grasp the revelation. "How did you get here? How did this place get here? Why did the library get built over it?" Ricky chuckled, a low rumble in his chest. "Ah, that's quite a tale," he said, settling back on his haunches. "You see, this library has been here since before your time, or rather, since before humans decided to build above it." He explained that generations of raccoons had painstakingly carved out the tunnels and chambers, creating a subterranean sanctuary to house their beloved books and artifacts. Over the years, they'd collected these items, which ranged from real animal skulls to plastic dinosaurs, carefully preserving them for future generations to marvel at. Whiskers, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, listened intently. He learned that Ricky had been guarding the library alone for many years, missing the companionship of his fellow raccoons. When they discovered the entrance to the library had been sealed, they assumed the raccoons had moved away. Ricky sighed, his shoulders slumping. "For a long time," he said quietly, "I thought I was the last of the bookworms." Hearing this, Whiskers' heart went out to the lonely raccoon. An idea sparked in his mind. He wanted to help Ricky find his friends, to bring the bookworm clan back together. But first, he needed to get some sleep. Because, of course, it was bedtime. Whiskers snuggled up in a pile of musty books, dreaming of adventure and secret libraries. When he awoke, he knew exactly what he had to do. He scampered back through the passage, careful not to wake anyone in the library above. Once outside, he raced toward the woods, weaving between trees and leaping over logs. In the distance, he heard a faint rustling. Hope surged through him. Could this be the sound of his friends? He pushed on, adrenaline fueling his paws. Suddenly, Whiskers froze. In front of him lay a clearing bathed in moonlight. In the center stood a colossal oak tree, its branches reaching toward the sky. And there, nestled in the crook of a low-hanging limb, sat a family of raccoons reading a book together. Their eyes, shining in the darkness, looked up as Whiskers approached. "Hello," he called out, his voice echoing in the clearing. The raccoons stared back in surprise. One of them, a young female, tilted her head and asked, "Do you know something about this place?" Whiskers nodded, his heart pounding. "There's a secret library nearby," he said. "An underground library full of ancient books and forgotten treasures." The raccoons gasped, their eyes widening with wonder. Together, Whiskers and the raccoons made their way to the hidden library. As the first rays of sunlight touched the clearing, they stood before the massive oak tree. With trembling paws, Whiskers reached up and pushed the leaves aside, revealing the entrance to the secret passage. The raccoons gasped in awe as they entered the underground library. Inside, Ricky rushed to greet his long-lost family. Joyful squeals and excited chatter filled the chamber as they embraced and shared stories of their adventures. Whiskers watched, a contented smile on his face. His quest to find the raccoons had been a success. From that day on, Whiskers became a regular visitor to the secret underground library. He spent his days helping Miss Linda at the Maplewood Library and his nights exploring the hidden world below with Ricky and the Bookworm clan. Together, they shared their love of books, stories, and adventures, proving that even in the quietest of places, magic can be found if you know where to look. The end. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and leave a like. And as always, feel free to comment your story ideas below. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.